영원히 stay gold and never let go. Hi. So I'm going to do my version of the K-pop albums that define me tag. This was created by Sonastoria. She came up with this really cool idea to just briefly talk about albums that you would give like a list of to someone that didn't really know you, so they could kind of get to know your K-pop musical tastes. So it sounded really awesome and I loved the idea, so I wanted to do it. So we're gonna not talk forever because there is a lot of albums, I would say, so let's just get into it. We're starting with the what got me really into K-pop and has helped me become what I am now. So first we have to talk about Soundji, the third album from Brown Eyed Girls. I bought this back in 2011, 2 years after it had been released, and this was around the time that I was really getting more into K-pop, and I finally decided to look online on where you would buy a K-pop album physically because they had them. And it led to me looking at YouTube and finding K-pop unboxings, and then it led to Yes Asia, where I eventually bought this as my first K-pop album. It's a classic, like Abracadabra, Candyman, Moody Night, Addiction. It's just a great album. It's only 9 actual songs and the rest is like instrumentals, but hey, I really love this, and this is what started me buying the albums because this came and I was like, oh, this is on some next level ish with the packaging. So after I saw this, I knew that I had to look into K-pop albums more and buy some more. So then the next album is my first ever boy group album. At the time when I was getting into K-pop, I was really only here for the girl groups, and I was like, I'm not too sure about the boy groups. But I saw this on Yes Asia just browsing, and it was You Kisses Neverland. And I was like, okay. So I checked it out on YouTube, and I listened to Neverland, and I was really surprised with how much I loved that song. And then I listened to a few more songs on the album, Baby Don't Cry, Someday, and Take Me Away. And I was like, oh, okay, they're making some good music. I need to buy this. So I bought it. So this holds a special place as the first boy group album that I bought. First boy group album that I actually listened to in its entirety and had made me warm up to more boy groups. This next one is, I knew about the group because I knew about the songs before I started buying the albums in 2011. Because I had known about K-pop before that, and they had been one of the groups that really got me into it. And it is 21, and this is their first album, To Anyone, and it's full of some hits. Back when I was getting into K-pop, I really loved the visuals, and their fashions in them were so bizarre, mixed with like a funky, cool sounding song. So I was like, wow, 21 is so good. Like, this has Can't Nobody Go Away, shoot, Slow, Appa, Sarangin Anya, You and I, Please Don't Go, Kiss, I Just Wanna Kiss, Follow Me, Clap Your Hands. There are just so many good songs on here. This is like such a great album, and they are also one of the reasons that I also kept on looking at K-pop and loving the music videos, because the visuals in these videos were so out the box with the fashion that I was captivated. And I just love this album. It has a lot of great songs that I listened to a lot when I was becoming a bigger K-pop fan. And then the last group album from like the beginning stages is what was used to be my all-time favorite K-pop girl group at the time. I was like, okay, this group is that one. And it's also a prime example of first listens. For a lot of groups, I was kind of like, not really my thing. So I would kind of just write the group off. But then after a while, I would kind of open up to them more. Prime example, After School. This is their first album, Virgin. And I was like, I listened to all the After School songs because they always came up in the recommendations on YouTube. And I was like, music is not really for me. And then Shampoo came out and I was like, this isn't a bad song. And I really love Shampoo. And then it made me re-listen to Bang and Because of You and all the other songs like Diva and all. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Why didn't I say I liked After School again? Because now I'm really liking After School. And then it was because of this album and Shampoo that After School became my favorite girl group in the early stages. This is such a great album. And then now we're going to transition into like girl group stuff. So this is also kind of like beginning stages, but also up to now, because they have been a big part of my K-pop life. It is Girls' Generation, and this is their third album, The Boys. This is the first Girls' Generation album I ever bought. So what got me really into looking at more K-pop in 2011 was because I found G on my on-demand from Comcast or whatever, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. I like it. It's catchy. There's so many people. And then they released The Boys in 2011, and this was after I had bought in Soundg and Neverland, and I was like, okay, well, let's buy some more albums. Girls' Generation is making a comeback. Let's buy it. So I bought it, and I was so excited when I saw this because I just thought this packaging was the bee's knees. It was so cool. Couldn't no one tell me nothing. And the more I listened to this album, the more I listened to other Girls' Generation songs, I was like, okay, Girls' Generation is amazing, and they're now my favorite group, my favorite girl group. It's Girls' Generation. Love them. And they've pretty much stayed at the top until a little recently. But they're still, like, up there. Love this album. Like, The Boys, Trick, Say Yes, How Great Is Your Love, Top Secret, Lazy Girl, Oscar, Sunflower, Vitamin. So many good songs. Continuing with the girl groups, we have another girl group that is one of my favorites. This is Red Velvet and their first album, The Red. Red Velvet really gives me like this quirky side to music, and I really enjoy it. When this came out, I was like, whoa, dum dum, what a bop. And then I listened to the rest of this album, 10 songs, and I was like, oh, this album from start to finish was incredible. I was living for it. Time Slip was like the ultimate jam. Damn, control your fucking dog. Shit. Get the fuck out of here. Time Slip was... Bitch, if you can't control your fucking dog, you shouldn't be the one walking it. Fuck. Ugh. Okay. Time Slip was like the jam of 2015. Like, so amazing. And then, like, Don't You Wait No More, Oh Boy, Campfire, Red Dress, Ladies Room. Just full of amazing Red Velvet B-sides. Such a great album. And one of the reasons why I decided to pay more attention to Red Velvet, because of this beautiful piece of work. Oh my gosh. Like, Red Velvet. They have not really ever disappointed me in terms of their music. I'm not talking about the debut song because that debut song was a hot piece of ass, but everything else has been pretty damn solid. Rookie took me a little bit to warm up into, but I like Rookie now, and I just love the album. Red Velvet has like some of the best girl group B-sides that I listen to a lot, so yes, this album is where it's at. And then the last girl group, and this is the reason why Girls' Generation isn't my favorite girl group anymore, is because I started liking Twice a little bit more. So I said Twice is my favorite girl group at the moment because, you know, if it can go from After School to Girls' Generation to Twice, it can change because it has kept changing, but I'm choosing Twice's Signal. I know a lot of people at the beginning were kind of like, oh, Signal is a weird song, I don't know, but I actually grew to really love Signal. It's a cute, catchy song, and then the B-sides on here are like some of my favorite Twice B-sides of all time. 3 Times a Day is so good. Only You is one of my favorite Twice songs ever. Hold Me Tight is another one of my favorite Twice songs. Eyes, Eyes, Eyes is really cute. Someone Like Me, favorite Twice ballad song. I just found myself really enjoying Twice's music in 2017, and after they had released Knock Knock and then they kept on going with this album and then Twice-tagram and Married and Happy, I was like, there's so much Twice and I'm actually really here for it. I know people really loved the debut and I loved that Like Ooh song as well, but at that stage I was kind of like, they're good, but it's not amazing for me, so we're just gonna keep Twice on the back burner. And then like Cheer Up came out and I was like, okay, I really am liking Cheer Up. TT was a bop, she's a bop, and then ever since Cheer Up I've really been loving the songs that Twice releases, and I don't know, there's just something about their music that is just so catchy and so like fun to sing along to. So Twice. And then next we're gonna talk about like the 5 boy groups that are like always a humongous part of my life. I've narrowed it down to these 5 boy groups, and it's been this way since about the beginning of last year. I just have like come to the conclusion that these are the set 5, and they've pretty much stayed that way. So we're gonna start with Newest. So this is their 2nd mini album, Hello, Yoboseo. So this was the first time that they did a concept that was not with a song with like a powerful message. Hello is a love song. They had not had a title song that was a love song because Face and Action, those aren't love songs. But so people were kind of like, what's with the switch up? But I actually really enjoyed Hello. It was a more mellow side. It was a more subdued. It was different from Newest, and it kind of drew me into them a little bit more. So I was like, oh, Newest, I like this song. While a lot of people were disappointed that you switched it up too much, I actually really am feeling this. And so come spring break of 2013, I was looking at college choices, and we were visiting Long Beach, which is close to LA. So of course I was like, oh well, I looked this up a while ago and there's actually a K-pop store in LA. At the time I only knew about Music Plaza. I actually don't know when Choice Music was a thing, but Music Plaza was the store that I knew. So I was like convinced my parents that, oh well, since we're here, you know, we're going to spend a few days in Long Beach and we're also going to Disneyland, we can go to Koreatown and I can check out this K-pop store. So we did, and they had this album and I was like, I really want to buy this Newest album. And it has some really great B-sides, in my opinion, some of my favorites from Newest. Introduce Me to Your Nuna is a really cute song. Beautiful Solo is the last song on the album, and it's so upbeat. It's so catchy, so cheerful. I just love Beautiful Solo. Beautiful Solo is such a fun song, and I just really enjoyed it. And it's become like my favorite Newest song of all time. And I just really loved this album, and it really made me want to pay more attention to Newest. And pretty much I was like, okay, we need to buy Action, we need to buy Face, because I'm really digging Newest. And pretty much then I've been like loving Newest, and it's been a roller coaster with their career, because, you know, they started out really good with the debut, everyone was really feeling it, and then Hello and onwards it kind of was declining a lot, and then come 2015 and 16, it was like, oh shit, Newest, what's going on? You're in Japan for like 7 17 months. What's going on? Pledis, what are you doing? Pledis, I know you're broke, but like, And then they got their boost with 101 and Produce 101. So I was like, yes, y'all that was sleeping on them for the longest have finally seen the light. You've seen the way. They've shown you that they had some good ass music that y'all was sleeping on because you didn't know the name Newest. But I just really love Newest. They're like underdogs that had to come up after working their asses off, after looking like, oh, Pledis, you're about to disband them because you only focus on 17. But they've managed to turn the tides, and we're going to see where this journey takes us, because 2017 was a great year for Newest, and I just hope that they don't have what happened to them happen to them again. But if I had to choose the first album that I bought, Hello, that is the one that's like the most important to me. Next, we're talking about a 2016 group, and at this point in my life, when they debuted, I was like, I saw what happened last year with me in 17, and I don't need that to happen again this year, because 2015 was a year of me obsessing over 17 after they debuted in May. So I was like, 2016, ain't nobody debuting is gonna get me feeling some type of way, falling head over heels in a matter of 2.6 seconds. But then this group was like, nah, bitch, you wrong. You're gonna love us, and you're gonna find one of your ultimate K-pop mans. And I did. And it is Astro, and this is their third mini album, Autumn Story. So yeah, I was really not expecting to pay as much attention to Astro as I ended up doing. But I ended up really loving Hide and Seek, and the rest of that mini album was a jam, and I was like, uh-oh, what is this? And then I watched like After School Club and everything else so I could learn the members, because Unwoo at the time, I was like, oh, he is cute as shit. Who the hell is he? So I had to know more. And then I found out that he was Unwoo, and I learned the rest of the members. And then they came back with Breathless over the summer, and I was like, shit. I'm really digging Astro. They are making some music that's really speaking to my spirits. And then in the autumn, they released the third mini, Autumn Story. And their title song, Confession, blew my ass off. I was like, this song is so good. Oh my gosh. Wow. I am not disappointed. And now I am really humongo trash for Astro. So I was like, ooh, that's that. And then like the rest of the album was amazing. Lonely. Your Love, which is like my all-time favorite Astro ballad. Colored and Star. I was like, okay, Astro, I see what you're doing. You're making music that I'm really digging. I basically was eating my words after Breathless came out, but this album is the one that really is like my favorite Astro album as of now. And they've like, Astro has managed to come from like the bottom of my groups list and slowly significantly make their way into the top 5. So that's how much I became a humongous fan of Astro. And Unwoo is like one of my all-time favorite biases. Like, he has cemented a humongous place in the bias heart that he's there to stay, bitch. He's there to fucking stay. So Astro's Autumn Story is the album I'm going with. It's a great one. Speaking of 17, we're gonna go on to 17. So they are like my wallet kings, because I just feel the need to always want to buy every single version of 17's albums, because I just know that it's gonna have some amazing pictures and quality, and they never disappoint. But this album, the second mini album, Boys B, is forever gonna hold a special place in my heart, because this is the album that came out This was their comeback from Adore You, and when this came out, I was like, okay, clearly I'm a fan of 17 now. And I just remember reacting to Monse and having the spazziest time of my life because I was so excited for 17. And I was like, damn, ain't no rookie group made me feel this type of way before. So that happened. And then this just holds a lot of memories because it's 17. And M-Wave chose my tile when they did their meet and greet live thing. And I got the all group signed. And I was like, oh, fuck, that is my life. I'm lucky. So, yes. Oh my God. 17 Boys B is a bop. And now we're on to like the top 2 boy groups. Like, Sinking Ship. Everyone is in a ship. I can only save 2 boy groups. It's these 2. First off, it's Infinite. This is their new challenge album. This is the first Infinite album I ever bought. And this is like after school, an example of I didn't really care for the sound and I wrote Infinite off as a group that I just wasn't going to get into. But then they released this and I was kind of like, ooh, this is like the same kind of sound, but it's a little bit chipper. It's more bright, but I'm actually here for it. And then so I bought it and I then looked back at their old stuff and I was like, okay, I didn't like this at first, but now I'm really feeling it. And then this year, when it came out, 2013, I ended the year off with buying 5 Infinite albums. They were like the most bought group of the year for physical albums for me. And if it wasn't for Infinite, I wouldn't have found the ultimate man, the human piece of perfection named Kim Myung-soo. He is a beautiful ass person and like ultimate bias, man. He started off as a bias wrecker. So this is like, you never know what's gonna happen because your bias wrecker can become your bias. And they can potentially become your ultimate bias, which is what happened with me and Infinite. And after this, I was like, okay, well, they're coming back with a single called Destiny. I'm pre-ordering. And I did. And I was like, whoa, do I really like Infinite this much? And turns out I did. I do. They really grew on me with their sound, and I've been just a humongous fan of Infinite since New Challenge. Like, just great music. And this album will forever be the reason why Infinite and Myung-soo is such a big part of my life. Love me some Infinite, and I love me some Kim Myung-soo. Oh my gosh. And if you want a good drama, you should watch Miss Hammurabi because his character was beautiful. And of course, if I save Infinite and I can only choose 2 boy groups, who am I saving that's not Infinite? Well, it is EXO. And they're also the example of no, I was not here for you at the debut, but then I really fell into some deep troubled shit because their music turned out to be the bee's knees, a bop after bop after bop, and I just, whoa. EXO has become like my most played artist of all time, K-pop and otherwise, and Growl forever holds a special place in my heart because the XOXO album was so good. And I was like, wow. And then Growl, they just added Growl, XOXO, and Lucky. And I was like, you're going to add Perfection on top of Perfection? Okay, I'm with it. And this just has so many hits. So many amazing songs. Like, Growl is like an EXO staple. It's an EXO classic. It's a K-pop staple at this point. It's embedded itself. Wolf is a funky one, but I freaking love Wolf. You can come for me if you want to. I still love me some Wolf. XOXO is a freaking bop and one of my favorite B-sides. EXO has my favorite B-sides, and a lot of those B-sides are on this album. XOXO, Lucky, Baby Don't Cry, Black Pearl, Don't Go, aka my all-time favorite song ever, K-pop or otherwise, Don't Go is that song for me. I love it. 365. Heart Attack. Heart Attack is so good. And Peter Pan. Peter Pan is so good and so cute. And those lyrics and the vocals, oh my gosh. Yes, My Lady and Baby are also favorites. And Let Out the Beast. This album just has no skips. It's an album I put on, I jam out to every single time. It's amazing. And this video is really long, and I'm so sorry. I tried to not talk so long, but this is the last album. She is my favorite solo singer. She's my ultimate female bias, and it is none other than IU. And this is the album Last Fantasy. Last Fantasy is the album that really got me into IU. Good Day was the song that really took me over because I loved that note. That note was iconic, and I was like, ooh, girl, she can sing. So then I listened to Last Fantasy because You and I was the follow-up single for this. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a great song. And then on YouTube, I listened to the rest of the whole album, and it was amazing. And so, yeah, we're going to start. Secret is like one of the best album opening songs ever, in my opinion. Secret just gives us the embodiment of what is to come on this album with a fantasy-esque magical sound with a choir and great vocals and great songs. And Secret is forever that song. She's great. Sleeping Prince of the Woods is a cute song. Not my favorite, but it's still a great one. Child, Searching for a Star is like the first ballad, and it is a beautiful ballad. And when she gets to that high note in the bridge, and then it takes it to the rest of the song, goosebumps and chills. And then at the end, there's like this like violin solo, and it's beautiful. You and I, not as amazing as Good Day, but it's in the same kind of feel. Still a great song. Wallpaper Design, Music Box, Strings, beautiful. Then we have Uncle, which is a really cute song. I really enjoy Uncle. It's like, you know, I think it's for the Uncle fans because she has a lot of those, I guess. And then we go on to Wisdom Tooth, and that one is just great vocals, great vocals, great vocals. And then we have Everything's Alright. Not my favorite. Probably my least favorite. Moving on. We have the song, Last Fantasy. The full 6-minute masterpiece of Last Fantasy. Last Fantasy is her with an entire orchestra. There's oboes, there's flutes, there's tubas, there's trombones, there's trumpets, French horns, clarinets, a full-on percussion, violas, basses, cellos, and violins, and piano and harp. Like, there is a full-on orchestra, and it is one of the most beautiful, magical, amazing songs. I hate songs that are, like, extremely long, because I'm like, get on with it. What do you have to say for 6 minutes that you couldn't say in 3 or 4? But what she's not singing is filled in with these orchestral sections where I can hear, like, all these instruments, and I'm just always entranced by it. It's a beautiful song. They're like off the bat. It starts off with like a little warm up, and then it kind of does a little climax peak, and then there's like oboe, and I was like, that's my instrument. That's mine. So I was like, yes. Last Fantasy is an amazing song. And then Teacher featuring Radhi. Great. This is probably one of my favorite collaborations that she's done on any of her albums. Just an amazing song. After Teacher, we have A Stray Puppy. That one is kind of the more darkest sounding song. I don't know about the lyrics, but the vibe of the song is very ominous and mysterious, but it's so good. It's very different. It's like Secret, Last Fantasy, You and I, Wallpaper Design are kind of like the fairy tale is all nice and happy, it's a great day. And then Stray Puppy sounds kind of like the, ooh, now there's conflict. Now we have like some problems. But it's a great song. This is like sound-wise, not lyrically. And then we have 4 a.m., which is amazing because IU is a big fan of Corinne Bailey Rae. I think that's how you say her name. But she worked on that song and it is a different vibe. And it's also kind of more on the moodier side of things. And then she ends the album with Lamont, which is a jazz song. It's a jazz song. There is a very amazing saxophone solo in that song. And Lamont has some great vocals. That is one of the best vocal songs on this album besides Wisdom Tooth and Last Fantasy and Secret. So that is the conclusion of the whole 13-song album, Last Fantasy, which is just from start to finish a pure masterpiece and my all-time favorite K-pop album ever. As much as I love Growl, as much as I love Exodus, Last Fantasy will forever be the album that sticks with me. Ever since I heard it, it has been just an amazing piece of work. It's an embodiment of just greatness. It gives IU like her little youthful side that she kind of got popular with, as well as delves into some more mature sounds, which she started introducing to us with Modern Times. So it's like kind of a good mix of both. And it's just a really amazing album. It made me really appreciate her music and really appreciate solo K-pop singers in general. So this album is just, it's amazing. Plus, the limited edition is like so hard. It's like out of print and stuff, so I was really happy that I was able to get this. But yeah. So that concludes the K-pop albums that define me tag. I know there's a lot of talking and I'm really sorry, but I just had a lot to say. Like, what else is new? So thanks, Sonastoria, for making this. I can't wait to watch everyone else's videos. Y'all are tagged if you haven't done it already or whatever. Write a comment, make a video. Let's just get to know each other some more. And I will see you on the next video. Bye!